Hi, and welcome to Life After Injury, Me Now. My name is Aaron. I will be the host of this show. I will be the person stuttering and stammering and trying to reach you as another injured individual. I am a traumatic brain injury survivor. I had quite the slip and fall that resulted in many different injuries throughout my spine, throughout my body, my brain, my eyes, my jaw, my neck. Lots of not fun issues, but I have found throughout the years that the only thing that really assists the most after brain injury and living with post-concussion syndrome is trying to return to some kind of social normality and having other individuals that can speak. Sorry, I'm going to take these off. Speak with myself and others in a positive and learning environment so we can get together and use each other's fails and victories as kind of a guide for people who are living with permanent injuries to move forward and create a community for all of us to feel welcomed, supported, and hopefully work together to overcome a lot of the negative aspects that come with a permanent injury. So like I said, I have a traumatic brain injury. I got a level 3 concussion from my slip and fall, serious whiplash. It created vestibular damage. My ocular nerves have been permanently damaged. I have to wear glasses now. I suffer from chronic fatigue, extreme nerve pain down my arm, through my face, goes into my feet. It's pretty terrible. My eyes feel like they're too big for their sockets. Lots of pain throughout my entire body. Extreme vertigo, nausea, such bad memory issues. It's like I'm intermittently alive, so kind of in and out of my mental signal. So I apologize if I stutter and stammer throughout this video. I'm going to do the best I can with what I have and the limited amount of energy and resources that I now possess after 3 years of living with a permanent injury. I was very lucky. My doctor recognized that I was extremely out of it, and I kept failing the tests they give you for concussion that I'd still fail it. My balance is way off, and my memory is terrible. I think what's affected me the most, though, is no longer being able to participate in the things that I loved the most prior to my injury, like softball, like beer league ball. Being a positive person, that's kind of gone out the window. I'm cranky bear all the time because of pain and loss and emotions and just overall difficult, trying times. I'm sure all of you can relate. It's a very isolating injury, and a lot of people don't seem to understand it, regardless how much information you have. Then kind of brush you off and make you feel crazy for even being hurt, make you feel guilty for being hurt and not being able to do the things you could do prior. A lot of sadness and depression, extreme depression from this injury and all the loss that's come with it. So my doctor got me into Parkwood Rehabilitation Center in London, Ontario. I was extremely lucky to get into that, and I will be 100% open with this. I was so close to suicide. I just didn't see any way of moving forward, or I couldn't see any way to grasp any point in continuing to live until I got there and I saw that there was people who were way more hurt than I am. The loss of limbs, loss of total functionality, just vegetables. And I know that my life is more difficult for sure, but their lives have been, like, I can get up and walk around. I can still go to the gym on a good day. I used to be able to go more regularly, but now my battery is on empty. This must be the way a toy feels when its batteries run out. So throughout my time at Parkwood over the last 3 years of my rehabilitation, I have been fortunate enough to participate in multiple courses that I will share the pros and cons with, and the steps of rehabilitation that I've learned with you. Um, One of the most difficult courses that I had to go through was Brain X90. Um, so symptom provoking. It was so extremely difficult. A lot of it had to do with retraining your brain on participating in multiple very difficult, strenuous activities. So, for one, you would stand on uh, one foot and then utilize your hands and eyes to press different lights and say different phrases out loud. So you're retraining your brain to react to multiple stimulus, which is going to cause some serious post-concussion syndrome symptom escalations. So when we go over this at any time while you're watching this, if you start to get nauseous, if you start to get that faded out, bleached brain feeling, do your breathing exercises. For myself, for a nice calm down breathing exercises, I pretend I'm smoking a cigarette. So I get my nice big inhale, do a nice little 1.5 to 2 second hold, and then a nice slow exhale. And do that until you feel calm again, until you feel a little centered. A lot of people like to close their eyes and envision going somewhere else, thinking maybe the beach or something. When I close my eyes, it's just pitch black and extremely nauseating, so I don't really participate in those things. But if it works for you, do whatever's best for you. I'm not here to try to sway you in one direction or the other. I'm here to provide as much information and positive reinforcement as possible. So Brain X90 was a catastrophe for me. I was working at the time of trying to do that, I knew I couldn't be a server and bartender anymore. That's primarily what I did outside of retail sales and automotive sales. Those things are out of the question now. But I'll learn something different. Minds Matter, virtual support group. This dealt with a lot of things that I felt were very necessary to address, as well as these are three main components that plague me daily: anxiety, panic, and stress. I had dealt with depression mildly prior to my head injury. I had a few very important people in my life pass away. All seemed to be back to back to back, and it seriously affected my mental health. Now, on a daily basis, to tackle things like anxiety, panic, and stress, I have to utilize so many different tricks and procedures to make it through any kind of social event. So, like I said, the great thing about pretending you're smoking is you don't have to bring your hand up. So when you're in a social event, I know wearing a mask makes this more difficult. I refuse to wear a mask. This is not a political statement. This is just my physical health and what I believe is best for me to accelerate throughout the day without being blindsided by symptom escalations due to whatever happens when I wear a mask. So I'm not telling you one way or the other. Like I said, I'm not here to sway you. I'm just here to tell you what works for me and hopefully share some opportunities for you to learn. Panic attacks are something that I didn't really deal with prior to my head injury, but post head injury, I deal with panic a lot. I have this constant sense of, oh my God, fear, like just so much flight instead of fight. I just have this constant something's gone seriously wrong feeling, and something has gone seriously wrong. So, it's okay. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to feel down. It's okay to be depressed. You just have to kind of recognize those feelings and kind of isolate the heaviest ones. So when you're overwhelmed. You start to get those "what's the point of being alive" feelings. It's very important to slow your roll and slow your emotional uh, downpour, monsoon. I don't know. So, like I said, I'll pretend I'm smoking. You don't need to use your hands, but the hands do help to kind of focus on something other than your panic. So, without your hand, you can do this in public. You don't have to make over dramatic, because I'm starting to fade out, over dramatized sounds. You just have to do what works best for you, okay? Stress, extremely stressful. I can't do the things I used to be able to do. I don't participate socially like I used to. I've lost a lot of friends and family due to my lack of functionality, as well as the serious hit to the head really shakes up who you are and who you used to be. I can't control my emotions like a responsible adult all the time. My emotions are unhinged, to say the least. I'll go from happy to sad to swearing the toss of a dime. I don't know if that phrase makes any sense here, but I hope it does. Very rapidly, my mood can change, just based on what symptoms are currently kicking the heck out of me. I went to Acquired Brain Injury 101 at Parkwood, very useful, as well as warm up. No, you'll see here that dealt with word finding, attention, reading, memory, and problem solving. All of those have become extremely difficult after a head injury. I know finding words is very difficult. My attention span is almost non existent. I feel like I went from high speed 5G internet to like day one dial up, or more like Morse code realistically. Like my brain used to be like, oh, I've got all this information, I'm processing it, I'm able to recognize and react. And now my brain's like, oh, beep pop, beep beep pop, pop. It's pretty rough. But you find ways to work around it. So I have had the opportunity to learn quite a bit with a lot of professionals in this realm, and moving forward, I will have more of a daily topic to speak about. Dealing with anxiety, depression, balance, some nutritional aspects that have helped me somewhat. And this injury is peaks and valleys, ladies and gentlemen. This is a peaks and valleys situation where prepare for the absolute worst and enjoy the small little bits of relief that you get. There's going to be a lot of times in the overshadowing, depressed, pain-riddled valleys of this injury, but there are times where you feel pretty good and you can get out and be a little bit more social than your average time, or spend as much time in bed. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. So, like I said, I'm here to create a community where we can speak to each other in a positive way, uplift each other, let each other know that you're not alone, that you're not some kind of weirdo because you're going through an event. And just because you may be a little bit behind in life while you're healing, that's not your fault. It's not your fault at all. So if you feel like it is your fault that things aren't going the way that they used to and you feel a little bit behind, I'm 3 years behind. So think about that in a high school term. Like, I would go from freshman to junior. I'd be going into my senior year with not being able to participate in the first 3 years. So I get it. It's very, very difficult. and we're all in this together. My battery. I'm one of you, you're one of me. Let's please put together a community and a way to communicate and help each other out, because I think we all deserve to be happy, and we all deserve to have a path that is positive and fruitful for us on an emotional and financial level. So that's it for my first introduction video. Thank you so much for tuning into Life After Injury, Me Now. I sure hope this turns into something positive. Have a great afternoon, and remember, you're not alone, and this isn't your fault. See you soon.